Hello everyone and welcome back to the next installment of our 9.2 raid guides, proudly presented by Coinbase. This is Crzypck from Team Liquid, and today we'll show you how to kill Rygelon in the heroic Sepulcher of the first ones. Apologies if you can hear a bit more background noise than usual today. This video is being recorded live from Team Liquid's Race to World First event. Rygelon is a two-phase encounter against a celestial boss. In stage 1, the boss throws a whole host of abilities at you. In stage 2, you'll be inside the singularity realm and have to kill 2 core adds, then you move back into stage 1. Let's jump right in. First off, we recommend just using Bloodlust on pull. As for the boss's abilities, he'll periodically cast Celestial Collapse, creating 6 collapsing quasars around the room that move towards the boss. If any of them reach him, they'll explode, putting a nasty dot on the raid and increasing the boss's damage dealt by 30%. Quasars need to be killed before they reach the boss. To help ensure this, you should keep them slowed. Every 6 seconds, their speed is increased a bit, and the minimum speed they can be slowed to is also slightly increased. So, you'll want to nuke these down relatively quickly after they spawn. When a quasar dies, it'll leave behind a small void zone on the ground called a collapsing quasar field. If you run into this, you'll be put in the singularity realm for 5 seconds. When you come back out, you'll explode, dealing 33,000 damage to yourself and everyone within 5 yards of you. These void zones are how you handle another one of the boss's mechanics, called Dark Eclipse. This ability puts an orb above the head of several players, dealing ticking damage to them for 15 seconds. When the debuff expires, the orb will explode for lethal damage to the entire raid. However, if you run into the collapsing quasar field with that orb, you'll get put in the singularity phase. Here, the orb will explode for 11,000 damage to the raid, which is much more feasible. Then, you'll pop back into the normal realm again after a few seconds. Each player with a Dark Eclipse needs to use their own collapsing quasar field. Run into it, the orb explodes, then you come back out, and you keep nuking the boss. There's a few other more minor mechanics to be aware of. Celestial Terminator will put a bunch of really cool looking lines on the ground that explode a short time later. Just don't stand into these, it does hurt. Manifest Cosmos will put a cosmic core on the ground, a small orb. When a player runs near that orb, it'll shoot them for moderate damage several times. The easiest way to handle this is to have a player with an immunity be soaking it. You'll need to run to the orb, get shot the first time and actually take damage from it. Then you can pop an immunity and you won't take damage from the rest of the ticks. There will also be a small circle around the orb. Nobody else in the raid should stand within that circle. The boss also casts Corrupted Strikes, which is his tank smack. Any damage from this that goes unmitigated onto the tank is applied as a dot, taking every second for 10 seconds. The tanks will want to swap after each cast of this. When the boss reaches 100 energy, he'll cast Massive Bang. When this cast completes, it deals 1.1 million damage to everybody in the raid, and this cannot be mitigated, avoided, or immune. Fortunately, it doesn't actually hit you if you are within the singularity realm. So, to make this happen, you'll see a couple of small orbs along the outer edges of the room called Unstable Matter that have a health bar. When an unstable matter is killed while the Massive Bang is being cast, it'll create a whole bunch of small soak circles, well more than the number of players in your raid. Standing in a soak circle when the Massive Bang cast completes sends you into the singularity, preventing you from dying. Every player will need to find their own soak circle, as each one only protects a single player. You want the tanks to keep the boss relatively close to whichever unstable matter you're planning on using for the upcoming Massive Bang. As soon as the cast on Massive Bang starts, all DPS should hard swap to the unstable matter and blow it up. Your more mobile players should take the further away soak circles, leaving the closer ones for slower players like Death Knights. While standing in the soak circles, there's a very minor pulling effect, pulling your character towards the boss, so make sure you actually stay within the circle for when the Massive Bang cast completes. If you are not within one of the soak circles when the cast completes, you die. Following the Massive Bang, the entire raid will be inside the singularity. Here, you'll see 2 unstable cores about 10 or 15 yards away from each other. Each core has its own health pool, but you do 99% reduced damage to them. Fortunately, the cores will basically kill themselves for you. you'll see a circle underneath the core. Well, inside that circle, the core deals ticking damage to the raid every second. All of that damage is also replicated and dealt back to the core. So, everybody in the raid should stack up under one core together. The core will do a bunch of AoE damage to the raid, which is replicated back on itself, and after about 8 or 10 seconds, the core has killed itself. Once the core dies, it casts Gravitational Collapse, a 3-second long cast. This will put a new 5-yard circle around itself. Anybody within the circle, when this cast completes, will take about 390,000 physical damage. If the explosion does not hit anyone in your raid, it'll instead deal that damage to everybody, wiping you. To handle this, you want the entire raid team to move out of that circle, except for one tank. That tank will pop their active mitigation and some cooldowns, and you may also want to throw some externals on them if possible. Then the explosion will go off, the tank survives it, and the entire raid moves over to the second core. Do this a second time for that second core. Have the entire raid soak into it, kill it, and then have the second tank soak that one's explosion. When that second explosion goes off, the stage ends, you get pulled back out to the primary phase. While you're dealing with these cores, Rygelon will be inside the singularity with you, attacking you. The corrupted strikes mechanic for tanks continues, so they'll also need to continue swapping on the boss. Your raid will want to focus all of their damage on Rygelon, since you don't really do much to the cores anyway. While inside the singularity, the entire raid will also take minor ticking damage every 2 seconds that grows in potency over time. If you fail to kill both unstable cores before the boss pulls you out of the singularity, you'll wipe. Once you do come out of the singularity, you've seen the entirety of the encounter. From here, it's rinse and repeat. You'll want to move the boss towards a new unstable matter, as each can only be used once. Run through all of this again a few times, and the boss just eventually dies. If you enjoyed this guide, remember to like it and make sure you're subscribed to the channel to catch all of our previews, guides, kill videos, and more. A big thank you to Coinbase for making guides like these possible. From everyone here at Team Liquid, have a great day, and we'll see you for the next video.